So, good evening, sir. Welcome to Prittle Prattle News. We are so glad to have you over here. So, my first question starts with describe yourself as the leader of Inspire and your journey, how it has been.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. The question is, I could go on, talking about my own life, but let me try and see how short I can keep it. The journey so far, personally, I have had the opportunity to work in 5 or 6 different sectors, right from agriculture to agriculture manufacturing to advertising to real estate. Then from real estate, a tech startup where we developed a search engine to being an interior designer, and now finally Inspire CoSpaces. So it's been varied and very interesting for me. On a personal level, I'll just give you a short understanding of where my background comes from. Being an agriculture graduate in 2008, I was actually an agriculture officer working in a small village called Dhondewadi. Dhondewadi, for people who don't know, is actually about 45 kilometers from Pandharpur. The closest motorable road is 5 kilometers walk from that village. So that is where I was in 2008. And in 2016, the other extreme was I was having dinner at the Versace Villa in Milan, cracking the Versace hotel deal for Dubai and Lebanon. So that's been the journey that I have lived. It's been a very interesting journey. It's been a fulfilling journey for me. Sometimes stressful, sometimes enjoyable. Till we have gotten to Inspire. And with Inspire, it is only, it's like a fast-paced train that we have got, where things are moving at such fast pace that we sometimes just want to sit and take a breath and go ahead and do some changes. But it's been interesting so far.
Okay. So, and what idea came in your mind that before starting Inspire CoSpaces?
So Inspire didn't come with an idea. Inspire has been brewing in my head for nearly last 10 years, if you ask me. So after coming back to India, I was working with Kanakia when we were probably the first few developers who actually signed a co-working space, or rather at that time it was called business centers. So we signed Quest Business Center in Boomerang, and I was instrumental in signing that deal, and that is where I actually learned about co-working or business centers as they were called then. And that is what got me thinking about co-working, and that is what got me thinking about how this sector works. So if you ask me, Inspire has been in the making for 10 years. It's only in 2020 that we have actually launched it. So it's not been a one-day decision, it's been a 10-year decision, 10 years of learning how the sector works. To be very honest, if you want me to tell you how the Inspire thought came to our head, I'll have to go back to the history of co-working per se. So in 2010-11, Regus came to India, and that they brought in the concept of shared office spaces. At that time, it was not called co-working; they were called shared office spaces, business centers. Once Regus came into India, a lot of other local players started copying them, and till about 2016, they managed to create a niche for themselves. So there was Empire Business Center, there was Regus, there were a couple of other local players who were there. However, in 2016, the co-working space was disrupted by this company called WeWork. Globally, suddenly co-working became the norm. WeWork, as I would call it, WeWork made co-working look very sexy by making really fantastic interiors and getting people to come and work there. They call it disruption. People believed it was disruption. I don't think it was disruption at any point in time. But the trend caught on, and as we speak, there are about 990 brands of co-working in India, each one of them trying to be in their own small way, whether more premium, less premium, bigger, smaller, another will work. So till COVID-19 happened, India had seen about 900 brands of co-working across India. But COVID-19 is actually what changed the trend entirely. And the one thing that made us start Inspire, I would say it's the COVID pandemic. So that's that one. What is the idea that got us into co-working? It is COVID-19.
Okay. And COVID-19, the other one is that what would be the other challenge that made you start it?
So I'll tell you what happened in COVID-19. It's very interesting how people behaved in COVID-19. In a real estate point of view, the major, and I'll talk commercial real estate specifically, a lot of people till March 2020 in India, we're talking about consolidation of real estate. We're talking about bringing everybody to work under one roof. We're talking about taking 4 lakh square feet spaces, 4 million square feet spaces, 20 million square feet spaces. Of course, that is one thought process, that's one trend which was there. But then came the pandemic. It is, as a lot of people call it, na bhuto na bhavishya kind of an event where everybody was made to stop in their tracks and rethink the entire process. And in that time, a lot of occupiers realized the difficulty of being in a locked-in space. So, I mean, to simplify it for the common user, the occupiers were actually paying rent to the tune of crores of rupees without actually using that space. And anybody who does that feels the pinch for it. Also, COVID-19 definitely made everybody rethink about their strategies in terms of businesses that is there. So what happened during COVID-19 is a lot of people started giving up properties, saying that, oh, you know what, I need to cut cost. And one of the easiest way to cut cost is by cutting out the dead assets that you have. So, and rent being one of the biggest costs. So the last thing that they want to talk about cut is people. That's a typical company behavior. But so they started cutting out real estate and giving up real estate. When we started seeing that happening, that is when we realized that flex space, as the new trend is, flex space is what actually is going to boom in the coming time post-COVID. See, COVID was not a situation where the world was coming to an end. World has seen at least 7 pandemics or 7 global pandemics before COVID-19, and it has survived and boomed immediately after COVID-19. I mean, the last pandemic per se that the world has seen is the Spanish flu of the 1920s, and post the 1920s, it was from 1925 to 1945 is when the industrial boom happened. So it was immediately after the Spanish flu pandemic that the world saw the boom. Similarly, if you see what is happening post COVID-19, we have not even opened up completely, and the stock exchange is sitting at 52,000 today. NSE is at 52,000, which was never done. So, having said that, the boom is coming. But when the boom is coming, nobody wants to make the same mistakes that they did pre-COVID, which is be locked into properties, have huge costs on their heads, especially when you're recovering from a kind of loss-making year. I mean, 2020, the financial year 2020-21, everybody has written off from their books. Nobody has actually made money. None of the businesses have made money. So when you're getting out of that, nobody wants to take liabilities on their head. So when that is happening, when it's all started, the first thought that came to my mind is, oh my God, which means flexibility is going to be what is demanded by clients. And if flexibility is being demanded by clients, what is going to work? Co-working is going to work. And that's how Inspire was born in the middle of COVID. In fact, Inspire was born in the first 20 days of COVID. So Nishit and I, Nishit, the partner that we work, that you might all know. So Rishit and I had been discussing co-working since 2019 October November, but in March end or early April 2020 is when we actually got together and said, hey, you know what, this is an opportunity that we should not miss out on, and hence we both started working very diligently on this for the time that we got. So everybody got free time. So we also got free time. So we got our heads together and developed a business plan. And using that business plan, we actually opened our first center in in July of 2020, which was just after the country had reopened again. So the point when we started this, I will say April 2020 is the birth of Inspire CoSpaces.
Okay. And what are the biggest achievements before and after Inspire?
Before Inspire, so one of the biggest achievements according to me is, personally for me, is I have managed to get some really good gurus or mentors for myself. In the last 10 years, I'll start with Mahesh Chauhan in Ogilvy, to Hussain Sajwani from Damac Properties, to Tulruya from Phoenix. They have spent their time and energies teaching me over the span of 10, 15, 20 years, and that is what has got me here today. So my single biggest achievement is to be able to find good mentors who can teach me. That's on the personal level. On the professional level, we have always looked at being aggressive in our business approach, and with Inspire starting in June of 2020, actually the exact date when Inspire started is May 20th, 2020, where we signed up our first property, and from then on we are today touching close to 4,000 seats in Bombay alone. And across India, if you ask us, we have sign-ups for nearly 8,000 seats. So that would be our biggest achievement, where clients who have signed up maybe 20 spaces with us have gone ahead and signed up 1,000 spaces. Clients who started with 5 seats with us in June, July last year have now committed to over 3,000 seats across 18 cities in India.
And what the qualities are you find as a leader of Inspire?
No, that's a question that we need to ask my peers and our teams in Inspire and our partners across. I'm hoping they will say good things, but to be very honest, the one leadership skill that I look forward to comes from an incident that happened to me in 1999. In 1999, I remember the date actually, July 31st, 1999 is when I actually joined Ogilvy as a fresh trainee who was an account executive who was coming into the world of advertising from an agriculture background, having been an agriculture officer. It was new to me, it was dazzling, as most people will call it. When I joined, the day I came to Ogilvy, they actually gave us a Russian doll. You know the dolls where there's a big doll and inside that there's a smaller doll and another smaller doll. Till the end you get this very little doll that is left. You keep opening it. And very excitedly I sat on my table and I started opening those dolls. And when I got to the last doll, inside the last doll was a very small chit. That small chit was a handwritten note from our then MD, Mr. Ranjan Kapoor, which said that in Ogilvy, if you hire people who are smaller than you, then the company will become a company of dwarfs. However, if you hire people who are bigger than you, then this company will become a company of giants. That one thought has always stayed with me throughout my career. And whenever I sit and hire, I am actually trying to look at people who are smarter, better, more intelligent than who I am. And as a leader, my only job is to ensure we give them an environment and all the facilities where they can flourish. Because the more they flourish, the better the company will do. So, as a leader, the only thing that my job is to ensure we give opportunities to people to show their talent and skills.
Okay. And would you describe yourself as a risk taker?
A lot of people do call me a risk taker. A lot of people. So interestingly, when we were starting Inspire in early June, what was happening was a lot of our partners, a lot of people who knew us were very skeptical about what are we doing. I mean, people have actually called us. A few friends have actually called us and said, "Are you guys out of your mind? Have you, I mean, really gone bonkers when the world is shutting down? You're opening a co-working space when there are multiple brands and multiple co-working players who are shutting shop, and you're opening up." So they thought it's a risk, but I never thought it was a risk. All I saw was an opportunity which thankfully I could see. And that has been my approach throughout my career. What people call risk, I call opportunities. There have been times when I was pushed into doing something because I didn't have any choice. Sometimes circumstances, sometimes the monetary needs. But at other times, whenever people have thought I have taken a very risky decision, we have done our background check. We have done our work. I mean, as I said, co-working, we thought overnight and started Inspire. It has been in the making for 10 years. It's been 10 years of effort before we actually started it. Yes, we saw the urgent need to start it because of COVID-19, but the thought process had already started much before. So it is not that today we are starting Inspire CoSpaces. So am I a risk taker? No. I would. Some people have a very negative connotation about this word, but I will call myself opportunistic.
Okay. And what are the long-term goals that you have about Inspire?
First and foremost, the first goal for Inspire is to have clients who trust us and clients who believe that we are giving them quality and service. That's our first goal. Clients like Visionet, clients like XLD, clients like RK Ceramics, clients like Microcom, clients like Prittle Prattle. All of them are actually our clients who are trusting us with the responsibility of organizing office spaces for them in the middle of COVID, where the risks of people congregating are very high, and yet they trust us enough to allow their people to come and work with us. So our main aim today is to make opportunities available to our clients to be working and conducting their business. So this is one of the key targets. The second target is actually collecting a bouquet of partners who work with us in growing this company. When I say partners, let me first start with the co-founders and the founders of this. So Nishit or Shrikant or Ashish Chandna, who are now the founders of this entire brand. It has been a difficult and a long journey. What people see us smiling, partying together many a times, what they do not realize is how much we break each other's heads in our boardroom. We fight, we nearly pull each other's hair, but that entire struggle is only to improve what Inspire is and how we are going to take it in the future. If you, after the co-founders, the other partners are our employees who have trusted us in the middle of pandemic again and have grown with us. And then beyond that, there are other partners, right from Savills, who's our real estate partner, and a big consultant, Bhavin, Vishal and Moinak as a team have been consulting us or guiding us through these times in taking up new spaces, in taking up opportunities that are coming our way. Then be it a JLL, be it a Knight Frank, be it a Cushman, or be it a CBRE, they have also been very enthusiastic in accepting us as a player in co-working. We are newcomers. Technically, we are not even a year old. However, the kind of confidence that they have shown in us has been amazing, and we really thank them for that. Then there are other partners who have helped us take this journey forward. One of them is Prittle Prattle, who is our communication partner, and they are really working hard in making sure that we are seen across and are heard across, and have managed to get a lot of goodwill for us. So this is where we are. This is the goal of Inspire, if you ask me. Now, to put some numbers, because everybody wants to see numbers as to, oh, what is our goal? Where do we see ourselves? Will we have 100 centers? Will we have 500? Will we have 50,000 people? So our immediate goal for 2020, December 2021, is to have 10,000 seats across India. That's an immediate goal. We have already touched nearly 6.5. We might be touching the 10,000 much faster than what we actually think, because we have a sign up coming up with another client of ours, which is again a repeat customer of another 2,500 seats. If that actually fructifies by September, then we will be touching 10,000 by September, October itself. In terms of number of centers, we don't calculate our business with the number of centers, we calculate it with the number of happy customers. We want to have at least 100 plus customers giving us their business by the end of this year. Today we are at maybe 30, 35, 40, and we want to take it to 100. If we take it to 100, we are sure to cross the 10,000 number. In terms of the cities that we want to cover, we have said this in the past, I will repeat what we have set ourselves as a goal. We want to be present across at least 8 to 10 cities in India with our own centers, and have partnerships across at least 20 cities in India to spread ourselves across. If God willing, we want to be the first Indian brand, a homegrown brand, to open up the centers internationally. We are already looking at cities like Singapore, cities like Dubai, cities like or countries like Vietnam and Malaysia to start co-working places.
And where do you see Inspire CoSpaces in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, oh, I wish I could give you a definite answer. In the next 5 years, we want to be a company which embodies trust. We want to be a company which embodies transparency. We want to be a company which is approachable enough where a person who is wanting a single seat to start his own venture or a startup, to a company like Tata who's wanting to seat maybe 10,000, 30,000 people, we should be the first name that they think of when it comes to solutions in real estate. From a number point of view, we want to be probably already done an IPO or be doing an IPO in the next 5 years.
So we are so grateful to have you on this show of Prittle Prattle. Thank you so much for being here, sharing
Thank you
with
so much.
us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us here.